serve. Now, a few safety reminders before we head out. Please make sure to stay seated at all times, keeping those hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the truck. Also, make sure to hold on to any loose items. If anything happens to fall, I won't be able to stop the unit, but just let me know. I'll try to get it back to you as soon as possible. I do also recommend having those cameras or cell phones at the ready. You never know when you might see an animal out there. Now, this first area we're heading into is called the Military Forest. You'll notice there's a lot of trees, a lot of bushes. It's pretty well shaded. When the sunlight's coming down through the trees, most of the animals blend in really hard to camouflage, so keep your eyes open. There is an animal there on the right-hand side. That's an okapi. It's got black and white striped legs and a dark brown body. It was actually first thought to be a myth by Westerners for a couple of reasons. First, the Westerners actually had a really hard time finding them out in the wild. They are very shy animals, and villagers described them as having the head of a giraffe and legs of a zebra, which probably sounded pretty mystical to those Westerners. We can see they're very real. They are most closely related to giraffes. They have a very similar skull structure to giraffes. They also have a pretty similar tongue. It's really long, prehensile, which means it can grab onto things. But the okapi uses it for things like licking their eyeballs and their ears to clean them out. Now, these big black and white birds we're seeing, those are saddle-billed stork. There's one on kind of back to the left and one a little bit more forward here to the left as well. There's also a black rhinoceros laying just beyond the tree there. Looks like they're taking a snooze. Now, if you get a look at their mouth shape, they have kind of a pointed mouth shape. That upper lip is almost like a finger. It can actually grab onto things. And that's because they are browsers, so they tend to grab things either from off the ground or from bushes or shrubs in the surrounding area. And that mouth shape is actually one of the ways we can tell them apart from other species of rhinoceros, because other species have different mouth shapes. Up to the left on this little hill, there are some rust-red animals laying down. Those are bongos. Bongos are known as the ghosts of the forest. So we're pretty lucky to see them out here today. Now, the next area we're starting to head towards is called the Safi River area. And the Safi River area is home to several semi-aquatic animal species. Now, semi-aquatic just means that those animals spend a lot of their lives in the water. So once you see the river coming up ahead, look out for any bubbles or dark shapes. It's a good indication there might be an animal there just below the surface. There is a hippopotamus that just got into the water. There are also some pink-backed pelicans. Those are those kind of gray and white birds. And I know they're called pink backs, but their backs don't really look pink right now. That's because they turn pink during mating season. The skin under those feathers turns pinkish. Sometimes can be seen through those feathers, kind of like a blush. There's another hippopotamus all the way to the left, all the way down the river. You can see it out of the water there. See if we can get a closer look at them. They might end up going into the water while we're moving up there. But now hippopotamus, the word's actually a Latin word, and it means a river horse. That's because when hippopotamus tend to move about in the water, they tend to walk at the very bottom of the river instead of swimming at the top. That's to help them to save some energy. If you've ever been swimming, you know it can be pretty tiring. So walking along the bottom helps them to save that energy for later when they need to go out looking for food. There are quite a few hippopotamus here. One kind of here going into the water and a few more up that little ravine. Make sure to stay seated all the way down though for me. Make sure to stay seated for me. Thank you. Also on the left-hand side, coming up, are some little crocodiles. They're kind of all around that grassy strip. And now crocodiles on average grow to be about 16 feet in length. It's about half the length of the truck that they currently sit on. But don't let their size intimidate you. Now crocodiles are really good moms when they're these are just about ready to hatch, they will take them in their mouths, very, very gently roll them around. That helps those little eggs to crack open. It makes it a little bit easier for those crocodiles to hatch out of their own eggs. Now, once they have hatched, they do actually stay near their mother, shoulder keep safe from any predators till they get a little bit bigger and can defend themselves. The next area we're heading towards is the savannah. In the savannah is where we can find some of Africa's most iconic animals. Also some pretty incredible plant life. Like this big tree on the right. It's called a baobab tree. You'll notice it is leafless. They remain leafless for about 9 months out of the year in order to conserve water in those really big trunks they've got. They actually conserve so much water they have a nickname. They're called the Tree of Life, because they do literally save lives out of the savannah. It's really hot and dry. When those animals can't find any water, they can eat the bark off of the tree. And the baobab bark's kind of spongy from holding on to all that water. It does help them to get some much needed hydration. These animals here, kind of up on the right, these are wildebeests. They're kind of gray-brown. Got black hair, black faces. And they do migrate really big groups across Africa, groups of up to 500 million in size. Also some Hartmann's mountain zebra coming up ahead. And then the animals with those really big horns. Those are Ankole cattle. Now a group of zebra has a pretty fun name, called a dazzle. And that's because when they move around in a group, when they start running around, on all those stripes, they are pretty dazzling to the eye. It's actually really hard to tell one zebra from the other, which is also a way they defend themselves from predators. It's really hard for a predator to pick out one zebra from the rest of the group to go after. Now there on the left, there is kind of a rocky cave. It's called a den. There are some animals laying down in that den. Those are African painted dogs. They are sleeping right now. Now they're more active early in the morning, and then later in the evening. That behavior is called crepuscular. So it's totally normal they're sleeping right now. We don't want to make any noises at them. They are sleeping. We don't want to wake them up. Also on the left-hand side are some dark brown antelope. Those are sable antelope. And they are the emblem of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. Now they were chosen as the emblem because when they are faced with a predator, they'll actually stand and fight instead of running. We think that's pretty noble of them. The Ankole cattle that we've been seeing with those massive horns, those horns aren't actually as heavy as they might look, because they're not solid. On the inside there's kind of a honeycomb-like structure. And that really helps to reduce the weight of those horns. It also is a way that they cool themselves down on hot summer days. They have blood vessels in those horns, so the blood will go from their body into their horns. And when it's in their horns, that blood will cool off. And then it will recirculate throughout the rest of your body and cool off the rest of their body. Looks like the zebra on the right getting a little rowdy. You might notice them running around a little bit. There is also a baby giraffe coming up ahead to the right. Looks like they're relaxing. Getting up a little break. A baby giraffe, when they are born, they stand about 6 feet tall. And they do also have to drop about 6 feet to the ground as well. That's because usually their moms give birth to them standing upright. Now the giraffe are crossing in front of us. These are Maasai giraffes. If you get a good look at their spots, you'll notice that their spots are kind of jagged around the edges, like a jagged puzzle piece. And that is specific to Maasai giraffe. Other species of giraffe have different kinds of spots. It looks like that little baby giraffe got up and walking around. Now, baby giraffe do grow pretty quickly in their first few months of life. Now, within their first few months of life, they do grow about a foot. So that little guy is already between 7 and 8 feet tall. Now, it does take about 4 years for a baby giraffe to be fully grown. And once they are fully grown, adult giraffes, they stand about 17 feet tall. So it takes about 4 years, and they grow about 11 feet within those 4 years. There's also an eland straight in front of us, right in front of those bushes, kind of a tan animal. Looks like those giraffes have stopped in the middle of the road up ahead in front of that next truck. Oh, looks like they might be moving on the way now. But I do believe the baby giraffe is somewhere over there as well, so they may still be in the road. Oh, there they go. Aww. Looks like we'll be getting a pretty close up look at both of those guys. I can see those eland really well. They're walking across. Now, a group of giraffes has a pretty funny name. They're called a tower. That's because of those long necks, they do tower over the savannah. Looks like there's also a springbok all the way to the right as well. And some more Maasai giraffe coming up. And these palm trees, looks like they're reaching really far up with that neck. I'm trying to eat some of those palm tree fronds. Giraffes do have pretty long tongues. They're about 1.5 feet long. And they'll wrap those tongues around tree branches and then kind of strip off all the branches and all the leaves. I'm starting to see some trees here that have been knocked over. It's a good indication that we are heading into elephant territory. And I do see an African elephant coming up ahead. It's kind of right in between these two groups of trees and bushes. And I just barely see its trunk swinging. Let's see if we can get another look at them. Those long trunks they've got, those are kind of like our arms with our hands on the end. They are very useful to them. They can grab things like food, put it in their mouths, also grab other things like logs, branches, leaves, mud or dirt, not throw it on themselves. And also hold several gallons of water in those trunks too. The same there on the right hand side as well. African elephants, they are threatened by many things, but one of them is habitat loss. One of the reasons for that habitat loss is mining for a mineral called coltan. Now you may wonder, well, what is coltan used for that it's mined so much? It's used for items like cell phones, tablets. You can see that African elephant again there on the right. Pretty close, too. Now, things like cell phones, tablets, laptops, cameras, all those have coltan in them, specifically in the rechargeable battery. So if you think about all those items that you might have, and multiply that by everyone here on the track, and then everyone's friends and families, and that is a lot of coltan that to be mined, and that equals a lot of habitat loss for those elephants. But there is some good news. Coltan is actually really easy to recycle and reuse, and doesn't wear down over time. We can help with that too. If you have any of those old electronic devices you don't need anymore, you can actually take it to your nearest electronics store and they'll be able to recycle that coltan for you. And that's a great way. If that coltan is recycled, that means it doesn't need to be mined as much. That means the habitat can be kept for those elephants. They live in a female-led society, or matriarchy. Looks like there's another giraffe to the left. Now we do have something in common with the giraffe. We actually have the same number of bones in our neck that they have in theirs. One on the right too, just behind that bush. Number of bones we have is 7. Their bones are just a lot larger than ours are. Some are able to be slayed down too. Looks like there are some African elephants kind of straight ahead. See him just over the brush there. And also here on the left are some flamingos. Oh, there's a baby elephant too next to that adult that's kind of walking across. See him as we go around these flamingos. These are greater flamingos. They are the largest of the flamingo species, also the lightest pink in color. If you notice any of those that look like they're a little closer to white, those are just young greater flamingos. It takes about 2 years for those feathers they have to change color. Get a great view of that little elephant walking across. I'd say that elephant's about a year or so old based on their size. That means those elephants are female elephants. Male elephants don't live with the females, they're a little less social. There's another elephant there on the left. They live either by themselves or in small bachelor herds. So any babies are going to be with the female herds. Also there on the left is a mud wallow. I know that orangey, watery looking pit. And mud wallows are used by African elephants, also rhinoceros. If you look to your right in just a moment, there will be a white rhinoceros hanging out here. Oh, looks like there's a couple of them. So you'll see rhinoceros have those wide, flat mouths. That's specific to this species of rhinoceros. Like that black rhinoceros have pointed mouth, white rhinoceros have a flat mouth. That's because they're grazers, so they're eating the grass off of the ground and other plants. So they need that flat mouth shape to help them get real close to the ground. There is a hill coming up here to the left. It's called Cat Hill. I do see some cats hanging out on this hill. They're light yellow colored black spots. There's one right in the middle of the hill, and there are a few more a little bit further back at the base of the tree. Looks like there's about 3 of them out there. Those are cheetahs. They are the world's fastest land mammal. They can run about 60 miles an hour. That's 60. But they are sprinters, not marathoners. They can't keep that speed up for too long. Looks like there's some more coming up ahead. Kind of the right side of this area. They're just underneath the bushes. run so fast, cheetahs are actually often outrun by other animals, like lions and hyenas, and not because those animals can go any faster, because they can't, but they can just run for a little bit longer. The cheetahs do use up a lot of energy running so fast. This rock formation here on the left is called Kopie. Kopies are really good overlooks on the savanna. Because of that, kopies are often used by animals like lions. Looks like there's some more white rhinoceros on to the right. So we'll have to keep an eye on this kopie as we go around it, see if we can find any lions, see if any are using it today. Now, lions live in groups called prides. Usually there's one male lion and then really any number of female lions. And lions do snooze anywhere from 16 to 20 hours a day, so sometimes even if they are using a kopie, sometimes it'll be tricky to spot because they are laying down snoozing. It does look like we're going to get another pretty good look at these white rhinoceros. Going to be coming up on the right. Now, white rhinoceros horns, they are made out of keratin. Same thing as our fingernails and our hair. And they actually trim their own horns to whatever shape they would like using trees, logs, stones. So you'll notice some of them have pointier horns or longer horns, kind of more curved. And some of them have shorter horns because they kind of just do whatever they like most with those horns. That's a great way too to be able to tell different rhinoceros apart that are of the same species. On the right hand side, it looks like there are some eggs that have been laid. Those are ostrich eggs. They are really big, just like ostriches are. Ostriches are the world's largest bird, so it makes sense that they lay some pretty big eggs. Those eggs are also really strong. They can actually hold the weight of a fully grown person standing on top of those eggs. They will not break. This is where the warden of the reserve lives. See, the warden's house is up ahead. And it looks like the warden's roommates are out and about. And they're getting better use out of the warden's truck than he is right now. These are Nigerian dwarf goats. And they are fully grown. That's as big as they're going to get. But their size is actually really good for the warden. It means they don't eat as much food as other larger species of goats do. So that really cuts down on their upkeep. We're starting to head back towards the village where I picked you up from. So I'm going to take a moment and talk about some conservation, some things that you and I can do to help the animals we've seen today. One of them is the 3 R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Now, if we all work together to reduce the amount of single-use items that we use and instead try to swap them out for some more usable items, that helps keep trash in the landfills. And that's really helpful to these animals because often the trash that goes into landfills doesn't end up staying there. And it ends up making its way into the habitats of the animals we've seen or even animals in our own backyards. And trash is no good for them, especially if they end up eating it. So some ways we can cut down on that trash is by switching out things like single-use grocery bags for reusable grocery bags that you bring in from the car with you. Or the next time you're making a lunch, try using some reusable containers instead of those single-use plastic baggies. Or even get some silicone baggies too. Another really good idea is to recycle. So you can recycle a lot of items. Items like